Hey, Sean here. I hope you're all doing great today. Today's video is all about Fallout 76's new update, Steel Rain, which came out recently. Is this update going to keep Fallout on the path of redemption? We shall see. I'll be taking a look at some of the new things coming out of the Steel Rain update, but first, please don't forget to like and subscribe. My very first video on this channel was taking a look at the endgame of Fallout 76, which I'd got to after a few hundred hours of playing, almost non-stop. I'd honestly had a great time playing this game, even though I thought it had some pretty big issues when I arrived there at the end. These issues stemmed from my impression that Bethesda had tried their best to create this artificial limit on how much you could play on one day, so they could keep drip feeding you daily. I'm almost certain this was to distract from the lack of content during the endgame. While I do think these limits are still there, I do think that it's slightly less aggressive than it was before. With this most recent patch, Bethesda has increased a lot of these limits, such as script and vendor caps, with the exception of storage, of course, which is something that I think needs attention too, but it's also something I think isn't going to be looked at anytime soon, mainly because of the inclusion of the scrap box in the Fallout First membership. First off, let's take a look at the scoreboard for this season. Unfortunately, much like last season, there seems to be a whole lot of filler that really doesn't encourage much in terms of progression. There are some items there that I wouldn't mind having, like the fortune teller machine. That does look pretty cool. Most of the items here are pretty standard, with a lot of filler items like previous seasons that you can get by other means in-game. There's obviously effort put into some of these building pieces and cosmetic items, and the theme of the scoreboard looks great, but it just feels very underwhelming. Daily and weekly challenges remain largely the same, which are mostly a tick list of objectives for you to complete routinely without much thought. Again, this is the thing that I felt was there to drip feed you experience daily for the scoreboard. One notable change here is that they have removed the nuclear winter challenges, which is something I guess. I can see a few people being happy about that. Is this season's scoreboard something I can see myself grinding towards over the next few months? Probably not, in all honesty. I gave up about halfway through last season, bearing in mind I must have spent around 240 hours during last season, and I only got halfway through. It's absolutely insane. But does it have things I'd appreciate receiving passively? Sure, I get that it's a free season pass, but considering the cost of Fallout First, I think it would be very reasonable to expect slightly better rewards for those paying players. Let's take a look at the wallet changes. You can now carry 40,000 caps instead of 30,000. I'm not too sure what you'd need 40,000 caps for, but if you were selling lots in your vendor, it can build up very quickly, so it's nice to have that option nonetheless. You can now exchange 400 gold bullion daily instead of 200. This is definitely an improvement, as it can take days to exchange enough for what you'd want to buy from the gold vendors. It'll help you stop that build-up of vouchers from public events. I had about 200 waiting to exchange at a few points. Hopefully there'll be more items added to buy with them with this increase. The script exchange machine now has been increased to 300 from 150, again very nice. I'm sure that's going to help my inventory space a lot during the days where I'll play events a lot. You can now also carry 5,000 scripts instead of 1,000, which is a massive increase for sure, meaning I now don't have to keep spending them every few days on items I don't need or want. I would have liked to see vendors also increase their cap limit too, for when I sell items like purified water. I can farm a lot of those very quickly, and I'd like to sell more of them so I can buy some more plans. But baby steps, I suppose. Onto the legendary power armor. You can now mod your power armor up to 3 stars with legendary attributes. Judging by the patch notes, the new attributes apply to regular armor pieces too. I'm happy either way with this, as there's less of a trade-off for using power armor now over regular armor. To upgrade, you need legendary cores, which you can get from events and daily ops, etc. It's really nice to have another reason to go into these events, not that I needed much more of a reason anyway. You do also need legendary modules, which you can get from the purveyor at the script exchange shop, which is another reason I'm happy with the script limit increase. There has been reworks to the weapon crafting system, where you can now craft legendary weapons and reroll stats. I quite like the idea of this, if only to get some use out of weapons that I might not otherwise use. I'll have more of an opinion on this once I really get into it. I'm still a bit addicted to my 50 cal heavy gun. A potential game changer for the creative players would be that the Atom Store now has introduced paid camp slots and special loadouts. You can unlock an additional 3 camps at 1000 atoms each and an additional 13 special loadouts at 500 each. I don't really have much of an opinion on this because I feel it isn't something that's really aimed at me. I'm more than happy with 2 cam slots as it is, and I'll change my perk cards from memory when needed, which to be fair is pretty rare as I usually switch between my combat loadout fine-tuned for my playstyle and one I use for non-combat stuff like crafting and selling. That said, it does feel a little dirty charging for special loadouts. There are absolutely people who wanted this though and will be more than happy to pay for it. I don't think I'm one of those people who feels the need to pay for convenience, but options are always great to have. But I'm sure they'll end up having them on sale eventually, so if I ever do feel that itch, I'll wait. The Steel Ring questline is a very nice inclusion as it concludes the Brotherhood storyline that ended quite abruptly last time. Obviously it was always going to be continued, but having to wait was frustrating. This is probably the thing I was most looking forward to this season. I absolutely love Fallout 76's story and I do think it was worth the wait. It's starting to feel like an evolving world. The Steel Ring quests begin after the ending of the last expansion, which sees you deal with the aftermath of the super mutant attack. The start of this expansion sees you investigate a lead at the Uncanny Caverns, alongside Knight Shin and 2 other initiates. Quickly, things don't go to plan, and an initiate is killed, as well as leaving Shin injured, who selflessly saved the other initiate from certain death. As the previous questline suggests, this expansion sees the tensions continue to rise between your character, Knight Shin, and Paladin Ramani, who both clearly have very different ideas as to what the Brotherhood should be working towards. You are unfortunately stuck in the middle of that. I've really enjoyed this storyline. It's been a great addition to the story and has been the driving force of change throughout Appalachia. I'm very interested to see where the story heads next and whether they can keep this momentum going. I'd like to go further into detail with the story, but I feel this is one that people should experience themselves, mainly because of the fact that there are different dialogue options and your story might not necessarily resemble mine choice-wise. Overall, I think that Fallout 76 is making great progress on its path to redemption, especially with the story. If anything, I think it's gone way past where it needed to be during launch. I think the story-based content that Bethesda has put out has definitely been the highlight of the game, for me at least. The world is starting to come alive. I just feel there needs to be more of an effort put in to encourage players to come and work together, which I don't think we're going to fully find here. Sure, you can play with friends through the story, but you're not really encouraged to do so, and when you do, you'll find yourself having to do it again for the progress if you were helping friends in the first place. With this removal of nuclear winter around the corner, the game is going to find itself isolating players away from each other further. Nuclear winter wasn't the best, but at least it was a multiplayer interaction on some level, so I only hope Bethesda can find other ways to bring its player base together outside of the occasional event or daily ops mission, which is usually over within minutes. Surprisingly though, they have now announced Fallout Worlds, which are customizable servers and a new benefit to Fallout First members. Although progress doesn't carry over to the main servers, this could be a pretty fun addition in ways to play with friends, but it's early days and they weren't available when I played this expansion. I could probably do with more Fallout friends, as I feel this relies a little on that, but we shall see in the upcoming weeks of release what people think. So, is Steel Ring going to save Fallout 76? This update is certainly a step in the right direction, especially with the reworking of systems. Even if it isn't the update that's going to revolutionize the game, it's for sure keeping the dream alive. It's obvious that Bethesda has some tricks up its sleeve and has no intention to abandon Fallout 76, what with this E3 announcement, but we shall see what the future brings. What are your thoughts on the new update? Please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.